Walsh. Joining me, Paul Stern, who I'd said worked with her. I was wrong about that. He got to know Jodi in 2008 before she killed Travis. I guess, Paul, she worked at the Ventana Inn up in Big Sur, and you were a customer there, and she was a bartender. Is that correct?
I owned a house there, so she frequented a bar and grill and restaurant every night to get on the computer.
Oh, so she was not, well, hold on a second. So she was not an employee of this place. You guys both just went to this inn, the restaurant at the inn.
She was an employee of Ventana, but I wasn't. I just lived there.
I see. And you actually loaned her the money that ended up in the trip where she actually killed Travis.
Well, the day before she left, she was pretty frantic that she had to go back and see Travis, and she talked about how he was seeing other people, and she asked to borrow money, and I gave her money.
Paul, when you say she was frantic, describe who you thought she was and what you mean by frantic.
Well, you know, I spent a lot of hours with Jodi. She would sit right next to me, and you know more about Jodi by what she doesn't say. She never talked about her family, her friends, her boyfriends, her hobbies, and she never talked about her feelings or emotions.
What did she talk about?
But she was on her computer constantly, and she kept a journal. She would show me pictures on a computer. There had to be thousands of them, and I only looked at a few, but I really wasn't interested at that time that much.
Was she, in spite of her talking about her obsessions, and by the way, did she pay you back?
She did pay me back.
Okay, and despite of her talking about the obsessions about the boyfriend, was she sexually provocative with you?
No. Okay. No, I have a girlfriend that I'm still with at that time, and I'm not available, and I think she sensed that.
Okay, so fair enough.
She would come in and sit next to me whenever she was in there.
Okay, Casey. What, Paul? Finish that up.
Well, when you engage in a conversation with Jodi and look into her eyes, it's like looking in a two-way mirror. But Jodi's looking at the reflective part of the mirror, and her eye beams really never meet your eyes. And she's very coy, enigmatic, and I'm very articulate, and she's also the same way about how she dresses, postures herself, and what she does without saying any words.
Okay, Paul, I'm going to put you on hold for a second. Casey, I see you shaking your head. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, a few things. First of all, it's great to hear from Paul Stern the fact that she had to borrow the money because she was obsessed about getting to Travis Alexander because she was in the middle of a terrible breakup, and this was simply not acceptable to her. So his description of her obsession is really on cue with what we know happened thereafter. But that blank look in her eyes is what we very often call in sociology and criminology Cooley's looking glass self. It's part of her chameleon and her actress affect. She's constantly gauging or scanning whoever she's talking to, and without even thinking about it, she mirrors back. We see her do it all the time in court. We see her do it with her defense attorney, even looking like her all the time. But she wants to know what will please people. This is a behavior she probably learned in her childhood. But the bottom line is he noticed it even though he wasn't involved with her.
And Dr. Drew, isn't that a survival instinct for many people who have survived child abuse?
That's right. It makes sense in the context of this kind of abuse. But Casey, what is it called again? What's the syndrome called? Cooley's looking glass?
We call it the Cooley's looking glass self. It simply means that we are reflective and reactive. We are constantly modifying and interacting with everyone we communicate with, but some people take it to a much higher level to where they don't even know who they are or what they